I wanted to point out, not that this person is of any significant note, but it's a referendum on Florida politics in general. And so the Democrats have shown that by attacking Jill Stein, it is painfully obvious that they think that they actually have a real shot of losing, even though they like to project that they really are convinced that they're going to win. But no one puts up an attack ad suggesting that a third-party candidate is somehow the reason they can't win. So Pam Keith is somebody who was a former JAG officer, or a JAG-off, as she now would be called.
Was she in the Florida House?
No, she was in neither. She ran for federal office in 3 consecutive election cycles.
Okay.
First for the U.S. Senate, and then for the U.S. Congress.
Wait, that Senate run was her first run ever?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
She may have run for something prior to that, but I'm just talking about the federal level.
Right. Okay.
And so she, like a lot of other people, have tried to remain relevant and are basically just kiss asses for the Democratic establishment at this point. She ran for Congress against, I mean, if you think about it, probably the worst GOP House representative in the state of Florida today, who is Brian Mast, who's up in the Treasure Coast.
Horrible.
To think that a person like that can't even get within striking distance has to be a pretty loathsome individual. I've heard all the stories about Pam and how she would treat her subordinates and things like that. I've dealt with her personally on a few different occasions. Never really liked her.
I met her once. She was nice enough. Whatever.
She's tough. I'll give her that. She's got cojones on.
I met her when she was running against Alan Grayson and what's his face, Patrick. Yeah.
Certainly would have been better than somebody like Patrick Murphy.
Ugh.
Ended up getting his clock cleaned by Marco Rubio off the back of his father's money. His father's a real estate developer, and it's amazing how much the Democratic Party has become the Republican Party.
So that's who this woman is. Somebody who has run multiple times, hasn't won a seat, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know what her position was prior that even got her into this. But
well, here's what matters.
Okay.
She puts out a tweet saying that Dick Cheney is more of a patriot than Jill Stein is. And it's not close. Sorry, but that's just a fact.
Really?
It takes a certain level of depravity to make a statement like that.
But what's the point? Was she responding to something else? That's just such a random thing.
No, because what I believe ends up happening is simply this. And there was somebody on TikTok recently who kind of blew the lid on this thing, where the Democratic establishment basically reaches out to anyone that they perceive as being Democratic Party loyalists with a decent enough following on social media.
And they just give them talking points?
They give them money, they give them talking points.
Okay.
They just throw them out.
So basically, and you basically believe that Pam is the kind of person that would just be on their little payroll.
1,000%.
Okay.
1,000%.
Okay. So she's just basically being, because it's just such a random thing to all of a sudden just say that, as if somebody had put out content comparing Dick Cheney or saying that Jill Stein, like, it's just such a random thing to say.
As self-critical leftist says, Jill Stein saves American baby lives. Dick Cheney kills babies. Yeah, he does. He's killed a lot of them.
He's killed a lot of babies.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chip.
According to Project Censored, 30,000 Dems didn't vote in 2000. Actually, Chip, that's not even the worst of it. In 2000, in the state of Florida, 300,000 registered Democrats voted for Bush. But let's not let that get in the way of blaming Ralph Nader for why they lost.
It was the hanging chads.
Mm-hmm.
It was the hanging chads.
But there you go. The Dems abandoned their base, and they did. Well, they decided.
Okay, so apparently this is Peter's response to Pam Keith, basically saying that Dick Cheney is more of a patriot. I don't think that people understand what a patriot means. But anyway, then Jill Stein is. So this was Peter's response, right?
Calling Dick Cheney a patriot is to disparage every man and woman in uniform who died for the profits of the military-industrial complex. You, as a former JAG officer, jag-off, know better, which makes her statement that much more vile. And she does know better, but it doesn't matter, because when you sell out, you go all the way. Because it isn't about what you say today. It's about knowing that you'll say it tomorrow, the following day, and 10 years from now. There's a reason why Maria Cardona is still on national television every single day. There is a reason why Joan Walsh is still a go-to journalist.
I don't know who these people are.
There's a reason why Bill Kristol gets to have his position on television. There's a reason why John Bolton is always relied upon to provide his insight into national security problems.
I think it's just because he looks weird with the mustache.
Yeah, it's the old throwback to the 1800s.
He's ridiculous.
But that's the point. If you're going to play ball, then you play ball all the way.
So basically, Pam Keith, you believe, is being paid to lick the boots of the Dem Party to the extent that Dick Cheney is such a good guy. That's disgusting.
When I think about the decisions I've made in my life and how close I came and how I'm grateful that I didn't make that decision to go forward with joining the U.S. military after 9/11, to know what Dick Cheney has done, to know people that I've known, people that have died, to make such a statement like this.
It's so disgusting.
Where is the line? And this is the same thing that we talk about when it comes to the genocide.
I mean, you know how much profit he's made? Do you know how much profit? Like Dick
Hundreds
Cheney.
of millions of dollars.
Like,
and you think Halliburton's the only one?
No, well, I mean, but what's so fucked up about that? And honestly, if we had on any of our veteran guests that we've had, whether
that's going to be
Matthew,
the plan for Thursday.
But I mean, any of those people, they loathe Dick Cheney. Like they think he's one of the most disgusting people ever.
And the other thing you have to remember, and with all due respect, Pam never saw combat. And when you never see combat, you got a lot to say.
She might have anyway if you paid her. I don't know.
I only give a certain amount of grace to Tulsi because Tulsi serves in combat, even though I vehemently disagree with her on Israel. And there are people who serve in combat who feel the same way about Israel. But, we're not going to cover it because there's really no reason to give somebody like Dan Bilzerian airtime. But Dan Bilzerian,
I don't know who that is.
He's an example of somebody who is just another Nepo baby.
But who is how?
You don't let me explain. I'm trying to explain.
Whose baby is it?
He has a rich father, a powerful father.
Oh, okay.
And so as a result, he lives a jet-setting, fast, Hawaiian tropic model type lifestyle on social media.
Okay.
And it's like Andrew Tate. It's a similar context as that. But he did an interview recently where he basically said, I am America first. I am pro-Trump all the way. Fuck Israel and the horse that they rode in on. He's even, and granted, he could.
Well, good. I hope there's more people like that because maybe that'll help sway Trump.
That's the thing. There are a lot of people who are like that, and they are infinitely more influential on the Trump side than they are on the Harris side.
Definitely.
Know why? Because men with real balls support Donald Trump. They don't support Harris. This has really become an election of masculine men versus emasculated men. It really is. Like in so many ways. There's going to be outliers here and there, but it's pretty definitive when you think about it. And the one thing I know that I've learned, that I've seen, and why Tucker Carlson says the things that he says today is because a lot of these guys, especially the ones that are ardent Trump supporters, whether they again, I don't think Trump is as anti-war as he makes himself out to be, although I think he's more so than somebody like Harris is. Point being is this: so many of these families have parents, siblings, friends. They've all served over there, and many of them have died. And they died for nothing. They died for money and power, and in many cases, they died for Israel.
Mostly working people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. I do think that Trump is more... I do think that he cares about what people like that think.
Yes, I do. I agree with that.
I think that he cares about what the people like his base people, the supporters that are for Trump, for America, and fuck Israel. I think that is a group of people that he might have to accommodate.
That's true. But Sable, make no mistake.
Oh, please. But did Joe get us back into the agreement, even though Iran has said numerous times that they want to be back in the agreement? Because Iran wants that.
I think Trump's coalition has evolved significantly probably ever since he got in. Because a lot of the people that he had in his administration, they all slowly but surely found their way in terms of the neocon path into the Democratic Party. And that's why it is the way that it is today. Which is why the people who are leading the charge for Trump at this point, You don't see, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say that Jared Kushner doesn't have an outsized influence on Trump still, but nothing like he once did. He's not the type of person who's going to be out in front determining what direction they ultimately go in.
And here's the thing, like when Trump does his rallies and he's around his supporters and his people, he wants to be liked. He likes to be liked. He likes to be popular. He likes to be the man about town. He doesn't want to be unpopular with his people. So whereas people like Kamala still can't even be in a room full of people without a teleprompter.
And the big problem here, Frosty, and this is the nature of our politics.
Horrible.
The nature of our politics is simply this. Trump is still the challenger. Now, if he becomes the president, he makes a statement like that. Now, all of a sudden, all of the liberals in this country will give a shit about Iran.
And again, and I think he talks and says ridiculous stuff. And I don't think he's better on foreign policy. I just simply think he cares about what that group of people will think. And if that in any way influences him, even if it's just regarding Israel, then that's better.